Hi everyone, welcome to Water Tanks with StewiejP. I'm Stewie and this is the Tier 8 Premium Russian tank, the KV-5, being driven by our old mate Chunky 4 from What University, Southeast Asia. It is platooned up with Frosty 2. An old mate of mine, Frosty 2, a hell of a nice guy and one of the nicest blokes to ever play World of Tanks. They're on Erlenberg, I think it's called, it is. And Chunky's driving around in probably the chunkiest tank in the game, the KV-5. Frosty's driving his T-32, the popular American Tier 8 heavy tank. Very popular tank in Tier 8 clan wars and probably skirmishes as well. You can look on the mini-map, you can see that Chunky's team's pretty much split in two on Erlenberg. Some have gone with him. Tries to snipe a little bit onto that Object 416, but the low profile of that rear turreted Russian piece of machinery is just a little bit too hard for him to hit. Gets a little bit of damage from American artillery for his troubles. That's what you get when you snipe on that hill. And Chunky, with his big chunky ass of the KV-5, is rolling around, going down to a bit of a different position now on Erlenberg, moving into the middle of the map where he's probably got more cover that he's got. If he goes down into these buildings, he's got more cover in the buildings than he would be by sitting and sniping on top of the hill. Gets two shots into that Object 416. Can he reload in time? Nope. The T-25-2, the Tier 7 American tank destroyer, which is a sort of a bigger version of the Hellcat, takes him out of the game. A handy tank to get rid of. Always handy to get rid of some top tier tanks. Chunky's going to try to be a bit of a try sniper there, trying to shoot across to the other side of the map. And Frosty's woken him up and said, "Chunky, stop fucking around over there. Get over here. This is where it's all happening. Over near the castle." You can see there's a couple of enemy tanks spotted there. Looks like a T-44, a KV-85. KV-85 would be easy money for a big Tier 8 tank. Chunky slowly gets his chunky ass up the hill. Looks like Frosty's putting a bit of damage into the IS. Sees a KV-2 and the desire to try snipe just too much. He gets a shot into the side of the KV-2 and then gets around this building before the derpiness can catch up with him. It's another shot into the KV-2, leaves him on 11 hit points. Bit of a high roll would have been handy there to pick up a kill, but that's alright because the reload time isn't too bad at the KV-5. Chunky finally picks up his first kill, with the scores at 2 apiece, now 2-3. And when you're playing a big Tier 8 premium heavy tank, you come around the corner and all you can see is Tier 6s and 7s. There's no greater feeling. So it puts a bit of damage into the T-150. Very handy tank at Tier 6. Probably not in his greatest element at Tier 8. Chunky takes the shot from the clicker of Detox, the Dream Killer. Luckily his tracks take most of the damage. Now the IS and the T-150 are both on pretty low health. The ARL takes out the 150 and Chunky kills the IS. He's lost his radio operator, but that doesn't stop him picking up his fourth kill with the KV-85. And his fifth kill for the T-44. 5 kills, not a bad start to the game. 5 kills, 2,350 damage. There's my old mate Mara KO09 from Pyro in the ARL V39. Another superstar that used to be in MI6. Now looks like Chunky might be just pausing, take a bit of a breath, take a bit of a breather. When you're driving around the fattest tank in the game, sometimes it gets a bit tiring, so you've got to have a bit of a rest. Looking to try snipe there yet again, but there's nothing. Looking at the minimap, there's nothing really lighting up the enemy side. So often on Erlenberg, whoever spawns from the northern spawn where Chunky and Frosty spawned for, they generally take this hill, and whoever spawns on the southern spawn generally take this hill. And that's exactly what's happened in this game. I got that from an ace tanker who used to be an MI6. Forward and back. It's not easy to drive forward and backwards when you've got a big chunky ass like this. Now this part I'm not really sure what he's doing. He's having a few blind shots. He's probably thinking, well, no one's going to like these pricks, so I might as well put a few blind shots into these bushes. So he's loaded high explosive ammunition. Because looking at their tank destroyers, apart from the T28 prototype, you've got the T25-2, which would be pretty easy to pen. The SU-100Y was definitely easy to pen, the big tier 6 Russian premium box tank. And even the ISU-152 would probably cop a bit of damage by a bit of high explosive shells thrown in their general direction. You can see on the minimap where they were last spotted. IS-3, the SU, and the ISU were all here. The T28 prototype in the middle, and the T25 as well as the SU-100Y there. Now bearing in mind that they're all tank destroyers and they're all possibly playing a very snipey game, no reason to believe they're not still there, I guess, so why not throw a few pieces of high explosive ammunition their way. Thirsty work commentating in all this chai sniping, so I had to have a mouthful of water, but finally something gets spotted. It looks like that has copped a little bit of damage, the ISU-152, but whether that's by Chunky's blind shots or from an earlier engagement, we won't know till the end of the game. He's going for some more blind shots into those bushes. I guess Chunky's thinking that his vision is limited. He's not. I don't have a KV5, but tipping the vision isn't that good. I know the T32 has good view range for a heavy tank, and that's why Frosty would have volunteered to go forward and try and spot for the team. It looks like everyone else is sniping. The IS probably, you have to be pretty brave to get too much further forward for that IS. Bearing in mind there's a tier 8 heavy and 2 tier 8 TDs, as well as some tier 7 TDs probably looking right at you. The IS has been spotted on the other side of the map, and I'm hoping that hopefully that Dickermax is not AFK. I don't think he is AFK, I think he's just keeping one eye on the northeast flank. Frosty's gotten a fair way forward, and I'm not sure if he spotted that SU-100Y or if he proxy spotted him. But the SU-100Y is slowly trying to peek up. And finally, there's the enemy TDs are starting to poke. And Chunky doing exactly the right thing and going for the biggest threat, which is the T28 prototype. Not talking in terms of statistics or anything like that, but just as far as the tanks that are around, the T28 prototype is probably the tank which could do the most damage, as well as that ISU. Looks like the ISU has fired, and Chunky puts 300 more damage into him. You can see Chunky's done 32-45 damage so far. Not a bad start to a game at all. The score's 10-6, so they're doing quite well. Frosty needs to be a little bit careful with his health. T25-2 gets spotted, but the IS is moving forward, and 377 health, and the little E2 is moving forward as well. Looks like the SU-100Y and the ISU have both backed up over the hill, but that IS wants to be careful because the IS-3's just popped out. The IS-3 does have a fair amount of health. Chunky sees another opportunity for a cheap shot into the 25-2, but his shot just goes a little bit wide. Takes one shot into the side. I think that was from the IS-3. He takes out the SU-100Y to confirm the top gun, as the T25-2 gets a rush of blood to the head and goes absolutely YOLO towards that M46KR, the Korean pattern. But the real danger is this IS-3. This IS-3's got a healthy amount of hit points left. He's got more hit points up his sleeve than both Frosty and Chunky combined. But the MKR's moving into the game, as are the TDs in the north. So they're going to do a bit of a pincer movement there. Of course, everyone sees the Artie and everyone goes frantic to kill him. Artie shoots and barely misses Frosty by the looks of it. Chunky struggles to get his big chunky backside of a KV5 over the hill to try and get a bit more damage. Frosty puts a shot into the IS-3, lighting him on fire. The IS-3 kills Frosty, and Chunky Seagull's the kill to pick up his 7th kill. Not a bad effort at all. 3,920 damage according to the damage tracker that I use. And let's have a look at the post-game battle results, see if that reflects the same. Of course, he's picked up his ace tanker. Not a bad achievement at all. Hand of God, Bruiser, Duelist, Fire for Effects, High Caliber, and of course the Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills. You can see here he damaged almost all the team. Nearly every tank on the enemy side, with the exception of the artilleries, got damaged by good old Chunky in the KV5. It looks like none of those blind shots did go through, but they certainly would have kept them on their toes, even though those HE shells that he was firing over the hill weren't connecting. They still would have made them think, gee, are they spotted? How do they know where we are? Probably running hacks, who knows? But they would have, those TDs would have been a little bit worried by those HE shells popping up around them. Very healthy profit, 62,000. That's not with a premium account. Of course, it is a premium tank, but 62,000 is not a bad bottom line profit. You can see if it was in a premium account, it would have been well over 100,000. For his efforts, he fired 32 shells. Bear in mind, at least 10 of them were those HE shells fired over the hill, which explains why only 19 of them hit. And of the 19, 17 did damage, and that gave him his Ace Tanker Mastery Badge. Not a bad game at all, Chunky. Thanks very much for the replay. Thanks for watching, everyone. Not a bad game in the Tier 8 Premium Heavy Tank from Russia, the big KV5. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.